everyone, Digital David here. Today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the Roborock Q8 Max Plus. Roborock did send me this sample, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging. Really like the graphic of the vacuum here. You'll see on the side, they include all the contents so you can see what's inside. Then we can learn more about the vacuum on this side. Another nice graphic here, but some of the key features for this particular model. And then you'll see the other side right there with just some of our product model information. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are some of the contents. We have a lot of goodies in this box. So first up, you'll see our product literature, quick start guide, user guide and manual, safety information. Then we have some additional product info here, walking us through maintenance and care instructions. Next, you'll see we have our mopping pad and module with a nice Velcro removable microfiber cloth. An extra vacuum bag. There's already one installed on the unit. And we have our gray power cord and cable with 90-degree connector. Next, we have our base in two pieces, so we will have to attach them together. Looking at the main base plate here, you'll see the grip as the vacuum drives up to charge. And we have our self-empty channel here. You'll see two little roller wheels, two brushes there. Flipping it over to the backside shows us that self-empty channel here. It's clear and see-through, so we can easily diagnose if we ever have any clogs or debris in this channel. They give us the included tool that we need to attach those 6 screws to the main base unit there. Built right in, so very clever design. But 6 screws to fasten everything in place. You'll see nice grip feet here too, giving us good traction on flat surfaces. Looking at the second piece of the unit up close, I really like the black and white color scheme here. Roborock's logo and branding, indicator light. Make sure to peel this for additional sensors. Charging contacts right there. If you'll see that, that's how the vacuum's going to charge. We have a nice handle up top too to remove to reveal our vacuum bag that's already installed, with instructions to pull out to remove and replace as needed. But looks really great from a design standpoint. Love this aesthetic here. You'll see some venting on the side, additional product info on the auto empty dock on the back side, built-in cable management and cord storage here. On the other side, you'll see where that 90-degree power cable plugs into, so then it can route that all directly behind the unit, so you can get this flush up close to your walls. And then here's a look at the very bottom with our 6 screw holes here, so everything can fasten in place. Ta-da! Just like this. So now we have both units connected, and we have our fully set up auto empty base. And last but not least, we have the vacuum itself here. So up from the top, we have a nice white glossy and reflective finish. A little bit of matte down here at the bottom on that back quarter of it. Roborock's logo and branding, LiDAR navigation module, 3 control buttons with child lock instructions. We have a release back here to pull out to get access to our dustbin and water tank. It is a combo unit right here. We do have a removable filter to clean and replace as needed. That's how we're gonna get access to the contents on the inside if you ever need to clean or empty it. You'll see right there how everything gets sucked up and into our dustbin. And then on this side, where is it hiding? Right here, this little flap, that's gonna be how it self-empties. So it's gonna go right through here and then out the main area through the brush rollers and away to the unit. You also see up at the top, we have our water inlet, so we can go ahead, pop that open, pour our water in there. They have a little filter screen built in too, which is nice. So love seeing that thoughtfulness there with the design. And then it just snaps right back in place. Looking at the front of the unit, you'll see we have our Reactive Tech obstacle avoidance and sensors built in. We also have our navigational bumper. Get a feel for that wiggle and play for that bumper as it can depress in. You'll see some venting right here on the side. There's a look at the dustbin and water tank from the back side. Here's a peek at the other side. We have some additional sensors here. Now flipping it over to the very bottom, our side cleaning brush is already installed. Charging contacts, omnidirectional wheel, cliff sensor so it won't fall down your steps or stairs, 2 spring-loaded drive wheels, additional product info there. We have the DuoRoller system here, and look at how this can move left and right, up and down for any sort of uneven surface or area, giving us that better clean. Want to have that nice seal for the best suction possible. DuoRoller branding, and down here at the bottom you'll see where we can attach our mopping pad and module. So go ahead, just line it up and it'll just snap right in place like that. It has a little bit of wiggle and movement too, again, depending on how even or uneven your floor or surface is, trying to give the most contact as possible. And on the side, we can just press these little buttons here to remove that mop pad for cleaning, replacement, and again, when we're going over carpets or rugs. But it just snaps right in place. That's a look at the vacuum up close. Now let's go ahead, let's charge it up and try it out. We just finished our first clean. Let's look at the results. We want to check out our dustbin here, and boy, oh boy, that is disgusting. Look at all that pet hair. I should point out, we have a household of 2 adults, 2 children, under 3, I may add, and a dog that has a lot of long hair. So you're seeing everything it was able to pick up right here. Super disgusting. I mean, this thing is jam-packed full. You might be saying, well, hey, David, I thought it's self-empty, so why is there stuff in here? Great question. I intercepted it before I put it in the vacuum bag so we could actually see the contents here. And if I'm careful, I'll pop open this filter. You'll be able to see it from the side there. Look at all that hair, grass. See lots of good stuff in there. And then tons of crumbs. I got a Cheerio down there. Just your typical household contents. We cleaned about 550 square feet, if you're wondering, and that bin is very full. So if you're dirty like me, that's just a nice indicator there to get a feel for what you can expect when you're cleaning, given the size of the area that you're vacuuming. Also, we had a full water tank here. Not sure if you can see it from this side, but we mopped basically 550 square feet as well with just a little bit of water left. So I bet you're somewhere in that 600-ish, maybe 650, I don't really know, but somewhere maybe 700 at the most square feet to be able to mop at, I should add, the wettest setting, which is the one I've really enjoyed. So it does a really nice job. But again, that's at the wettest setting, at least 550 square feet you'll be able to mop. Now let's flip the vacuum over and we're going to look at that mop pad here. You will see some slight discoloration, so we will want to make sure we stay on top of washing and cleaning this pad. It is picking up dirt around the house. And looking at the rest of the vacuum, your typical tangles here on the side cleaning brush. If you have long-haired humans like I do, I can see a lot of my wife and daughter's hairs in there. But look at this, the DuoRoller brush No tangles at all. That's what we love to see with this 2 roller brush system with those rubber brushes. They don't have bristles that will tangle. So if you have a lot of hair like we do, look at that. All the dog hair, human hair, nothing's even wrapped around any of these. Just your typical hair around the side cleaning brush. And then looking inside the vacuum, a couple of crumbs left over from the dustbin, but not bad at all. Navigational bumper, a little bit of dust here. Again, it's going to be, you know, vacuuming and going around your house, so you might have some cobwebs, some dust, things like that around the bumper. Just keep an eye on that and gently wipe off and clean as needed. But everything looks great so far, so good. Now it's time to take a look at the Roborock app. So here we are in our vacuum settings. We have our main map that's populated after we've done our clean. I've already edited a little bit. You'll see our first clean covered basically 550 square feet. 51 meters squared. We have 92% battery left. It did charge after it cleaned, and it ran for about 56 minutes. So it did a really good job, covered a lot of area in less than an hour. So you'll see right here what our map looks like. And we have these 2 options up here. The first one is our map details. We can, you know, add room names, floor types, furnitures, obstacles. We can rotate the map, choose to do 2D or 3D viewing. Then we have this little edit icon here. We can back up, use the map, change the name, delete it. We can add our no-go zones, edit our rooms, edit furniture, edit surfaces, create a new map. This does support multi-level mapping. So I went in here and I added a no-go zone. That's the red box right there. You can do an invisible wall, no-go zones, or no mop zones. Just identify things around the house that maybe you would anticipate a vacuum getting stuck in or tangled in, or you don't want it to go on a special rug, or maybe near decorations, things like that. So just pick and choose, configure as you need, but it's very simple. It's drag and drop. So resize, rotate, reposition, drag and drop. You can add multiple things to your map, hit the check mark, and you're all set and ready to go. It'll update your map like you're seeing right here. Then let's go back into it, and you'll see our next option up is down at the bottom. We have full room, rooms, or zone. So you can choose how you want to clean. Full clean, 2 cycles in a particular room, select the room, or if you just want to clean in a special particular spot or area, you can go up to 3 times in that zone. Then we have our suction settings here, general or customized. Up to you how you want to configure that. But you'll see right here, suction power, we have 4 different modes, and then we have max plus we can toggle on for our 5th and final deep cleaning option. Then you'll see water flow settings. We have 4 to choose from, basically no mop. Then we have low, medium, high, and then you'll see we have a customized option there. So I cleaned with the highest setting. Did a great job. Floors were nice and wet, but not too wet, but wet enough that it's actually going to make a difference cleaning your floors. And then we have our route options here, the standard route. And then we also have the fast route. You can learn more about this right here, but basically it's going to be a more efficient and quicker route for you. May miss certain spots. Just intended for occasional use. It's really kind of like a quick clean. That's how you want to view fast. I always leave mine in standard. But that's our quick settings right there. Then you'll see we can activate clean by pressing the clean play button, or we can activate returning back to the dock right there at the bottom. We'll also have more settings to look at in the top right-hand corner, those 3 dots there. There's our map saving options, multi-level mapping. We can pick and choose how we want to enable this, single level, multi-level, smart recognition, or if you want to manually switch between the maps. You'll see our first map right there, and we can edit all of that. Next, we have a scheduling option. If you want to add a schedule, you can basically choose time, days of the week, what cleaning modes you want, that sort of thing. Very simple to do if you want to put this on a schedule. I highly recommend doing that. I usually have mine run at night, every night. Then we have our obstacle avoidance. If you want to toggle those on or off, I definitely recommend leaving them on. We have our floor cleaning settings. This is nice. You can clean along the floor direction. Basically, it limits the amount of contact with any of the seams, trying to keep wear and tear to a minimum. So very smart that it can even identify your floor pattern and type. Then we have our auto empty settings right here. So you'll be able to pick and choose how you want to configure those settings. So empty mode, do you want smart, light, balanced, or max? Up to you. Then you'll see we have our robot voice settings here. Adjust the volume, change the language, custom alerts. We have our robot settings, button lights if we want to turn on carpet boost, child lock, do not disturb mode, off-peak charging, one of my favorite features. I love that Roborock includes this. So you can toggle that on or off if you want. It'll prioritize that for you. Offline map setting, and then our units. If we want to change that, we can do that right here. Let's go to square foot instead of our meter squared. All right, next up we have our pin and go settings. So you can tap on the map to set a target and it'll go right there, and you can spot clean. Remote control if you want to manually drive it with buttons or joystick. You can also activate spot clean and return back to home to dock. Then we can view our cleaning history. This will show us our first clean today, and there we go, 549 square feet. I was close, I said 550. Look at that though, look at how detailed this is. There's that row by row logical cleaning, giving you nice, deep, consistent, thorough coverage everywhere. It identifies objects for you. See those little cones? It's sensing things. A lot of this is kids' toys. Shoes, cords, dog toys, you get the idea. It'll find those objects around the house, but a nice cleaning summary for you there. Then you'll see our maintenance settings. Gives you a nice breakdown of basically the usage of each part and component and when it's time to replace them. You'll see user manual and guide. If you need that, it'll load out of the app. Product info, we can learn more about our particular device right there. Then you'll see firmware updates. We actually have a firmware update we need to do on this, and you can toggle on auto update. Device sharing, if you want to share this with friends or family, you could just easily add them right here by phone number, email address. And then lastly, we can delete the device if you ever need to remove it from your account for whatever reason. So very detailed, thorough, nice mapping, very simple app to configure settings however you like. So how does the Q8 stack up against the competition? We'll be comparing it not only to Roborock's brand lineup, but also compared to the average of over 40 vacuums that we've personally tested. The first metric we're going to look at is max suction power. This is measured in PAs. This has 5,500 PAs of suction power. That's above the brand average that we see from Roborock. The average is basically 5,200, and the overall average is only 3,800. So substantially higher in regards to suction power compared to your average vacuum out there on the market, and slightly higher than Roborock's very own lineup. Next up is CFM. So this result, we're showing CFM of 8.2. Typically the higher the better. This is going to be airflow through the vacuum cleaner. 8.2 is our score. That's 0.5 below the Roborock brand average, but a full point over the overall RoboVac average. And those first two metrics help us get a key indicator to our deep cleaning score. Again, if those are on the higher side, typically we'll see a higher and better result in our deep cleaning carpet test. The best score you can get is 100, and in this case we got a score of 95. That's going to be 5 points above Roborock's average of 90. You can see this is on the higher side of the deep cleaning, and our overall brand average is 85. So not bad compared to your typical RoboVac. We're 10 points higher in the deep cleaning. Next, we have our decibels. The louder the vacuum, the higher this metric is. So we set it to the maximum suction setting, and we do have it clean on carpets, and we record the decibel of the vacuum in the room. We got a score of 72. The brand average is right below that at 69, which is the same as our overall average. Will you be able to tell the difference between a 69 decibel vacuum and a 72 decibel vacuum? No, you won't, so it's kind of a moot point. But if you're wondering about the loudness, it's not going to be any louder than the typical RoboVac on the market. Moving right along, we have battery life. This is measured in minutes. The Q8 has a 240-minute battery life. Now, keep in mind, results will vary depending on your home environment and the suction and cleaning settings that you have enabled. The brand average is 200 minutes. That's going to be on the higher side, as you see, by a whopping 50 minutes. But this vacuum is almost 100 minutes higher in runtime compared to the average. That extended runtime is usually due to the battery capacity. This is measured in milliamp hours. The larger this number, the larger the battery capacity. 5200 milliamp hour battery capacity, that is standard on Roborock vacuums. Doesn't seem to matter if it's on the high end or the low end within their lineup. So we're right there where we need to be. And that's substantially higher than the typical average you'll see of basically 3500 milliamp hours. So almost 2000 more milliamp hours of battery capacity in your Q8, as well as just Roborock's lineup. Next, we have our height. This is very standard. It's measured in inches. You'll see for the Q8, it's the same as Roborock's average of 3.8 inches. That's because all the units we've tested have LiDAR navigation. So you see that little module sticking up at the top, and that makes these vacuums a little bit taller. Our average skews a little bit lower because we also cover a lot of models that are very budget friendly, and they forego this feature as a cost-cutting measure, and those are going to be shorter. Some of those can be 3 inches or a little bit less. But if you have one with LiDAR navigation, just know this is going to be basically the exact same height regardless of brand. Moving right along, we have our bin capacity. This is measured in milliliters. The Q8 has a bin capacity of 470 milliliters. That's just 6 milliliters below Roborock's average of 476. I would actually say this has a larger bin capacity than your typical Roborock vacuum, because when they have self-emptying bases, you usually see a smaller bin capacity because it can just go empty itself. You typically find the larger bin capacities on non-self-empty versions because they need that bin larger, so you're making less trips to the trash can to empty your bin. So overall, our average across the board, that's vacuums with and without self-empty, is 422. So that's why you're seeing here that this is actually a larger bin, even if it's slightly smaller within Roborock's own lineup. Similar to dustbin, now let's talk about tank capacity. This is also measured in milliliters. This has a 350 milliliter capacity. That's pretty substantially higher than the typical Roborock average. That can fluctuate depending on if your vacuum is able to refill and clean itself or not. If that's the case, typically you'll find a smaller capacity tank. In our case, we can't, so they gave us a larger capacity, so we have to refill it less often, which is great to see. You don't want to see a 200 milliliter tank and it doesn't refill itself or anything like that. So it's great that we have 350. This is above the overall average that we're seeing of 234 milliliters. And again, that includes vacuums that do and don't refill themselves that support mopping. So again, pretty substantial water tank on this vacuum. Last but not least, let's talk about cost here. So at the time of this video, this vacuum comes in about $100 less than Roborock's brand average, which is great to see. Overall, though, compared to just the average RoboVac that we've reviewed, that's vacuums with and without self-emptying bases, mopping attachments, LiDAR navigation, self-washing, cleaning, all of that good stuff. You'll see we're a couple $100 more than that average. So where's that leave us with the Roborock Q8? Well, let me share with you my final thoughts after using this vacuum cleaner. So first thing you need to know if you're shopping for a RoboVac, it's essential to buy one if your budget allows that has LiDAR navigation, so you actually have a vacuum that's capable of navigating around your house, actually knowing where it has and hasn't cleaned. It unlocks a bunch of smart features, right? You can set no-go zones, no mop zones, things like that. Really, really versatile and useful. Next, if you can get one with a self-empty base, that continues to automate your chores for you. And that's the whole point you're buying a RoboVac in the first place, is so you don't have to do any vacuuming. Well, why would you want to have to do any bin emptying either? Now you can kick that down the curb for like 7 weeks with this particular base unit. So now that that's out of the way, with this vacuum, it obviously has those features, but I think the best feature about this particular vacuum, out of all the vacuums we've reviewed that have this style of mop pad and module, not the dedicated spinning and scrubbing brushes, but just more of like your drip tank right here, this is the best mop I've ever used. And I don't say that lightly, but out of this style of mop, this is the best one I've used, because this within the mobile app, with the settings that you have, it actually gets this really wet. I have LVT, so I'm not worried about my floors being too wet or having water sit on them. They dry quickly, they're waterproof, so I want my floors wetter, and the wetter this can be, the more effective it's going to be actually mopping your floors versus just like gently wiping. Typically, it's like a paper towel that's barely damp and it wipes your floor. In this case, it actually does a better job since this can really get saturated. Usually what I do, I fill up a tank, I wet this, put it on, and for the first, 100 square feet or so, it does a good job, but then this continues to get dry. For this one, I didn't even have to get it wet. It saturates it, and it does a fantastic job. So that's my favorite and best feature with this vacuum from my experience. The next one's very typical with Roborock. I think they have one of the best mobile apps out there, and they have great features like off-peak charging. So that's nice and always unique to Roborock. So I like their map management. Everything's just really easy and simple to navigate, find, and use. They give us plenty of control options too if you want to manually drive it, all that good stuff within the app. But think about this one for mopping. That's going to be what sets this one apart in my experience. I also personally really like the aesthetic. There's multiple colors available. I think this is the best looking one. I like the Oreo Stormtrooper look, whatever you want to call it. I just think it looks really nice. So for me, this is my kind of style and preference. Looks great, high quality, great build construction, all of that good stuff. Now, I know I've sung its praises, but now let me tell you the biggest thing that needs to be improved with this vacuum, and that's gonna be their object recognition. So for me, any small objects, pet waste, cords, this thing just trampled them and ran them over. So larger objects, shoes, you saw the cup, the controller, things like that, it will identify them and work around them, but it will still wanna make some contact and it'll probably push them around. So for me, that's good that that can be updated in the future. They can continue to refine that and make it better, but I would love to see that improve quickly because with other Roborock vacuums, they do a really good job. But again, it just depends on the model that you're getting and what sensors it's equipped with. I was hoping for more out of this one, but again, the good news is a lot of that can be fixed over software. So I'll remain optimistic in the future that that can be refined over time. But that would be the thing I'd want to see improve the most with this is continuing to enhance and refine that object recognition. So cords, pet waste, things like that, compared to maybe iRobot or Dreamy, some of those other brands would do a little bit better job even with their more mid-tier vacuums. So overall though, this is a really solid vacuum, especially if you're looking for that mopping capability. This would definitely be one you should consider.